The Akedah, or the binding of Isaac, is one of the most well-known and challenging stories in the Torah. Read at least twice per year, readers traditionally focus on Abraham's unwavering willingness to obey God's command, Isaac's submission and innocence, or the dramatic mediation of a divine messenger. For today, however, I wanted to spotlight a verse that might be easily and ironically missed. Vayikra Avraham, and Abraham called, Shem hamakom hahu Adonai Yireh. This place by the name Adonai Yireh, Asher Ye'amer Hayom, which is generally meant today to mean Behar Adonai Yireh. On the mountain of Adonai, there is vision. While Abraham is often lauded for his quickness to act, the narrative subtly suggests that our paternal protagonist repeatedly acts without foresight, or even actual sight. It takes 3 days of travel before Abraham looks up and sees the site where he is meant to sacrifice Isaac. Preoccupied with the task at hand, Abraham is so consumed that he requires an angelic alert to pull him out of his tunnel vision. Only after that divine intervention quite literally stays his hand does Abraham finally see the ram caught in the thicket that could be a suitable sacrifice. Abraham's lack of awareness is so striking that it might even explain why Abraham fails to notice that Isaac does not actually accompany him back down the mountain. If we are descended from our greatest ancestor Abraham, perhaps it's reasonable that we too sometimes fail to see the things that are right in front of our faces. Distracted by debates and disagreements, confounded by conflict and community government ordinances, stymied by the shock of the unexpected hatred encountered in our very own welcoming and inclusive Howard County, it is simple to understand how we might miss the very real human beings standing in front of us, mistaking people for the problems that we attribute to them. When we are consumed with rushing to act, whether defensively or offensively, that we lose sight of the humanity of the people in front of us, or especially those opposing us, the holiness of our relationships starts to disintegrate. What starts as a difference of opinion can quickly morph into an us versus them mentality in an effort to prove ourselves right or to protect what we hold most dear. Yet again, Abraham's lack of vision, despite his alacrity for action, results in Isaac's absence from the rest of his life. Indeed, we find that this story marks the last recorded interaction between Abraham and Isaac until Isaac, along with his hastily discarded older brother Ishmael, returns to bury Abraham a few portions later. Philosopher and theologian Martin Buber wrote, "Ultimately, everything depends upon this: letting God in. But one can only let God in where one stands, where one truly stands, where one lives a true life." I agree with Buber and add the following. The only way that we can let God in is to truly see everyone who stands across from us, to witness and acknowledge that in every person is the holy spark that enables us to say that humanity was created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. It can feel like an impossible climb to keep our hearts fully open when our eyes are wide open to anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in our schools, workplaces, and neighborhoods. And yet, if we sincerely want to let God in, we must remain conscious of and hold fast to the humanity of every person whom we encounter, no matter how passionately we disagree. That's the real test of faith, the ability to stand with and in the face of one another and to glimpse a reflection of the holiness you see in yourself. May we strive to pass this test, ensuring that perhaps, unlike Abraham, we emerge from our own trials with our eyes open and our relationships intact, seeing the real people standing before us, not as obstacles, but as fellow travelers on this shared mountain of humanity.